Hello there, this is Chuck Edson again with Kiva's Corner. Uh, Kiva here standing behind me, my imaginary friend. His motto in his business back in my grandfather's time was, I ain't mad at nobody. He was a successful and generous businessman here in town. And this is Kiva's Corner. Our motto, besides borrowing Kiva's, is conversations for consensus. And that's what we're trying to do today. It is a conversation for consensus with Sally Ann Palcovich, a candidate for commissioner here for position number 3. Sally, nice to see you again.
Nice to be here, Chuck.
Anything you would, there are 4 questions I want to ask you in a moment, but any opening statements you would like to make to woo the voters here in Klamath County?
Now, I love that you use Kiva's Corner. I got to know a lot about Kiva Sugarman because I helped put together that little pocket park that we have on Main Street. So we spent some time researching Kiva so that we would know what the spirit of that corner should be.
Yeah.
And we hope that his family came down when we dedicated it. And I think they were very pleased with it. And I believe that Kiva would be honored that we used him there. So, and I think he'd be honored that you used him for consensus, because that's what he was all about.
I think so. Yeah. Well, thank you for noting that. If my picture was shown here a moment ago, I grimaced because some foam board fell off above the door, but it made no sound. But thank you for coming here, Sally, and helping promote Kiva's cause here. I think that event was in 2016, and somehow I wasn't really on to Kiva at that time, but did around 2021 and 22. And I know Todd Keppel pretty well, and the museum here are strong Kiva Sugarman advocates. I take a little more of your airtime and point out there's nothing at Kiva's Corner that says who the man was. There's stuff about fish. Anyway, but honor Kiva Sugarman. Let's put a bronze plaque up for the man.
I know, and it does say Sugarman's Corner, and
Right.
so that's as much as we've gotten up there. But if you walk around on the sidewalk, there are little plaques, and you can learn more about our community. And
Right.
and we thought that Kiva Sugarman was less into himself and more into community and who we are as a community, and working with one another and helping one another, and giving that helping hand to everybody. And I think that's what that corner is about.
Okay, well, thank you. As I mentioned, I wanted there are 4 fundamental questions I'm trying out in my approach here to try to get to fundamental issues, I guess. And in your case, running for a local office, what is it that motivates you? What is it that you're anxious about, and what is it you would like to do for the community?
Good questions.
Thank you.
And what motivated me back a couple years ago, I some friends asked me if I would run for county commissioner. Through my job at the hospital, I got to know a lot of people. And so they figured, a lot of people, that would be a good person to run. That's not the best and only reason you should run. Knowing a lot of people is definitely helpful, but you need to be able to do something too. And I have been frustrated, I guess is a good word, feeling powerless about some of the things I see going on in government, nationwide, worldwide. I think that we've lost the ability to be civil with one another, that we have lost the sense of community, and we are too committed to a party or some ideal, and we don't look at a bigger picture, which is the whole of the United States or the whole of the county or whatever.
All of humanity. I'm going to
Yes.
hold you short on these answers. Sorry.
That's okay.
So what is it? Do you have a sort of a view, of an opinion, or whatever outlook on humanity in general, and how do you see yourself in that picture?
Humanity, well, that's a broad subject.
But I'm going to hold you to like 30 seconds.
Okay. So part of it is, I think, being my background as clergy, is that I basically believe that all people are good at heart and that we need to maybe tap into some of that goodness and stop tapping into the badness that we have.
Yeah, that's what motivates people for a lot of Well, thank you very much. You've pretty much said everything I wanted to say. We can, well, I wasn't going to, we
Sure.
shouldn't close yet. But that is very much, as I think you know, right in line with
Yep.
Kiva's message. And I think a lot of people share our concern this way. Um, I guess getting to a little bit, you're running for position 3. I thought it was position 1. You corrected me on that. But there are 3 candidates. And
Correct.
can you say briefly something about each candidate? And more of these foam foam panels are falling off the walls around me. So sorry.
It's okay as long as the ceiling doesn't fall down, we're okay, right? To be honest, I have wanted to run my campaign about what I can do, not what they can or can't do. So I haven't really wanted to push whatever whoever they are, whatever they are, let them do that themselves. I feel that I'm the right person for the position because I have a, a background learning of listening, of being nonpartisan. As chaplain in the hospital, I no matter what your faith was, when I walked into into the patient room, I was who you needed to be at that time, and I listened and I respected every person that I ever came across through that, what regardless of their background, their faith basis. And I think that's what I bring to the position of county commissioner is the ability to listen to everyone, to respect everyone, and to help to bring consensus and kind of mediation with differing viewpoints to come to a point where we can all agree on something that we can move forward, because if we keep fighting, we're not going to end up anywhere.
All right. I believe coming up, what is the date of the primary? It's very soon here.
May 21st. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, okay. Not quite as early as I thought, but less than a month to go.
I know.
Any indication that, I guess there's no polling, like this is not a national event or something, and so don't know how you're doing or how the others are doing, or
No, that was someone asked me that the other day, and I said we're not big enough, I guess, to do that kind of polling.
yeah.
And maybe that's something that we could have the Herald and News do, or maybe as Kiva's Corner, that's something that you could come up with a way to do that kind of polling, because we don't really have that. So you're kind of running and hoping that you're talking to all the right people and getting the votes for you.
Sally, if you keep talking like this, I'm going to try to recruit you for the board of directors for Kiva Corner. So keep that in mind.
Okay.
I don't think I want to do it on air, but yeah, and I want to go back to something you said a little while ago about nonpartisan, and I don't know if you were here back when the League of Women Voters initiated turning the commissioner's office into a nonpartisan office.
I was.
Okay, yeah, and I was, and I don't think it. Well, is it possible in our today's world, do you think, to actually have a campaign that's nonpartisan, and with how polarized and partisan everybody is anymore?
I think it's kind of like I said, being a chaplain and walking into a patient room. When I would walk into the commissioner's office, I leave myself behind. That stays home, and I bring an open mind to talk to people and to listen to people. And I think that's what nonpartisan is to me, is bringing people together, recognizing that there are differences, that people come from different political, socioeconomic, all kinds of different backgrounds, and they bring all of that together into their decision making process. And how can we make all of those pieces fit together?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of evidence that people are, their personality traits and stuff that make some people conservative and other people liberal. And the last 3 years or so, I've really been looking into this, and I don't know, kind of opening a double door for you here, but it seems like, my gosh, it's pretty hard to distinguish which is who has the better interest at heart here when it comes down to what people are really trying. Can you expand on whatever it is I'm trying to say?
Well, I think it's where I grew up in Connecticut. We kind of thought Democrats and Republicans were all the same, and we called them Republicrats.
Okay.
And they seem to have, their own party at heart, and a lot of that defined itself in the form of their own personal greed and power, as opposed to looking outside of themselves to the people they were serving. And not everybody's going to win everything they want all the time, and I think we have to learn that. I think one of the issues that I've seen in our society, maybe it's from education, is that we learn that there's one right answer, true or false, A,
Yeah.
B, C, or D. And we need to recognize that discernment is part of making those decisions. And we're not teaching enough discernment, I think.
Yeah, yeah, and I've done a lot of thinking, well, a lot of research and learning from a guy named Anthony Haight and others about moral foundations theory, and it explains, I think, a lot of our differences and a lot of our similarities in the way we see the same way things in different ways that should lead to consensus, but there are a lot of interests that are dividing us apart. Have you been cast as too much one way or another in this campaign yourself, or would you rather not say anything about that? Or
Well, I think that there are some people who are saying that I'm ultra liberal, and that's because I'm a woman, because they don't think a woman belongs in government. They tend not to have the opinion that women are smart enough or good enough or whatever. And if you're a woman and you want to do that, you have to be a liberal, according to them.
huh? Okay, I'm trying to get my mind around that one, but maybe I shouldn't. But
Yeah, probably not.
I we've talked a few times, and
Right.
I've heard you speak a couple of times. I know that you're a very civic-minded person. You're involved in a lot of social causes. Uh, well, can you say a little bit about those?
Sure. I've ever since I moved here, and I've been here 25 years, I jumped into the community. I have no family here. I knew nobody in this town. I just came in as a lone person and had to jump in. And part of the way that you get to know people is to volunteer and become involved in the community. And of course, it helped my job at the hospital too. And so I became a member of Assistance League, where we provide clothing for school children. I became a member of Seroptimus, which is a business women's networking kind of program that also provides services for girls and women to succeed in our community, in the world, basically. And I also became a part of PEO, providing scholarships for girls to go to girls and women, because we, through the national international program, they have a PhD program, help assistance also. So I got involved in a lot of those kinds of things. I also chair the Circle of Hearts, which is a grassroots program that provides grants that enhance and support the lives of women and children in the Klamath Basin. So very involved in the community. I chaired the Snowflake Festival for a couple of years and was on the committee for a few years too. Um, the hospital brought in Blue Zones, and I was involved in the Blue Zones programs. When I see something, I try to jump in and be a part of it, and because I think we have a great community. We
Yeah,
have lots of resources, and we have needs, but I think we have resources to fill those needs, and I like to see those things happening to make this a better place.
yeah, and I've had that. A couple, 2 years back, I kind of came to the idea that this community is large enough to kind of represent all the different factions or whatever, and yet small enough that you can get access to the leaders and get some things done. And hopefully, I we can help each other. Government
Definitely.
and Kiva's Corner. I mean, not nobody in particular. be nonpartisan. Okay, Sally, there's something I wanted to ask you about that we've shared some emails on this, and I've shared it with some other people. Uh, I've done quite a bit of study on a subject called deliberative democracy for three years now, more than 3 years. I've been trying to figure out what's wrong with us and what the causes of the problem is, and trying to find out what the solution might be. And it wasn't until December of last year, like 4 months ago, I learned about deliberative democracy. And I really think it's a kind of effort that is scalable, can work at any national level or local level. Um, and I know you've looked into more than the one video I advise you to see. To Frank Nebel is about town halls. Could you say something about that, and hopefully how you think it might work as a commissioner?
Absolutely. I think it only makes sense to function that way. As I've gone around to various parts of our community, the thing I hear most is that nobody's paying attention to us. And I think the whole concept of deliberative democracy is listening to everyone. So I have said that as a commissioner, one of the things that would be important for me to do is to set up a regular schedule of town halls and community meetings and invite people to come and talk and meet to share what's going on, what do you need, what's working, what's not working, how can we best serve you, because I guess that's part of my clergy background too, is that whole servant leader kind of thing. I'm here to serve you, and how can I best serve you? And the only way I can learn that is by having those small group meetings and talking to people, focus groups, things like that, so that we can really identify what the issues are that we need to work on to make this the community we want it to be.
Well, yeah, thank you. I've kind of watched the Frank Nebel video 3 or 4 times, and he talks about how the usual town hall can, so many things could go wrong. First of all, the people who show up are the people like me, the complainers and so forth, the people that have all the right answers and so forth. And the average person, doesn't show up because they know they'd be drowned out probably. And that and everybody has their own opinions and states their own facts, and nothing gets done. And it's just often chaos, people running around with their hair on fire. There's three things that, and I don't know, I wondered, the three elements that I think that are essential in deliberative democracy are getting people at random, kind of like a jury selection, and having people look at the same evidence that both sides can question. I mean, getting evidence-based material rather than talking points, and to have them moderated, so people that have a mediation experience or something, and facilitate the conversations, and that everybody has something to say, making sure they say it and saying it in a civil way. And does that kind of capture what you think it would need to be?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. If we can't sit down and be civil with one another, we'll never get anywhere. Fighting is not the way to get to a resolution, and digging your heels in is not going to get a resolution. Not everybody wins everything. I've said that before. Sometimes you have to give up a little to get something, and
Yeah.
we need to learn that more and more. And not I it frustrates me, the anger that I see, and the it's all about me instead of about us, and we need to start looking at us, not me.
Yeah, anything about a consensus seems to me to mean something a little more than what's the word I want to, where, well, concessions or compromise is a bad word. And, both sides are saying, no, we can't compromise on anything. But I, I know a fellow whose opinion was, it talked about consensus as in the terms of what you could live with. And if we can decide on what we can accept, then everybody kind of balances out. It works out in everybody's best interest and gets some public support.
I think another thing that we have to learn too is patience.
Yeah.
And I think, I remember the commercials with Speedy Alka-Seltzer, relief is just a swallow away. And answers aren't like that.
Yeah.
A lot of the things that we need to do are going to take time. And so you can't expect to have something happen tomorrow that you want to have happen. You have to grow some of these programs and make them happen, and you have to draw more people in, and as you draw more people into making it happen, it grows and becomes more. But and I think we've lost our patience.
Yeah.
And that's another piece that I think
everybody's promising us quick and easy answers.
Right.
That the world is so complex anymore.
Yep.
So many relationships. Yep. It's not like you're facing a lion. I mean, there's
right.
many other elements around that
right.
threatening us now. And that's another point Nebula makes, that the answers aren't easy. We really have to analyze these things. And good point. I look back at it seems like the last year there have been some local events that issues that I think local governments have caused for themselves. I mean, I don't know, am I right about this? The jet on the stick thing was like, okay, this is the deal. This is it, public, better take it or like it. There was all this stuff going on about the sheriff, and nobody seemed to be really clear on what authority an elected official had and what authority commissioners had over them, and then the library thing, censorship and that was a mess, debacles.
Yeah,
it seems like there'd be a better way.
Yeah, definitely. And I think part of that is transparency and being open and honest about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and what's going on.
And getting some input.
And then getting input from people, and not just one person.
Yeah.
Getting input from a lot of people, so you can make an informed decision. And so, yeah, I think we've been thrown into chaos that didn't need to happen at all because of some poor decision making.
True. All right. So moving on, you're involved in a play, Dead Man's Cell Phone, and when are they going to make those tickets available, and how do I get them? You got 2 or 3 for me?
I can get you 2. They give me 2 free tickets for any performance.
Give them to a couple of kids. Give them to these 2 kids. Tiffany and Jude here.
I think probably tonight I'll get a sheet of paper that has 2 free tickets, so I'll get them over to you.
Okay. You guys interested in going? No, I guess they are. They're going to go. Thank you.
I've been involved at the Linkville Theater I was involved before because I went to the theater. I love the arts. I think they're very important for making a civilized society. And so I always attended and donated. Oh, another one came down.
Nobody's heard.
Anyway, so after I retired, I had time then to be in a play because it takes a lot of time, and so I have to be honest, I did not audition for this one because running for office was taking a lot of my time, but they needed a woman of a certain age.
Yeah.
And so I got called and asked if I would be in this play. And Dead Man's Cell Phone is a story it's a man who goes into a diner and he dies and his cell phone is ringing and someone answers his cell phone and then takes possession of it and gets invited to tells a lot of lies about what he said because of course she never met him until he was dead, and she shares stories of him with the family, and I play the mother of the dead man.
Oh.
And so that's why they needed someone who's a little older.
Several people offered to kill me so I could play the role of your son.
Oh.
But
I won't ask who those people are.
I told them I was too old for that because I'm afraid I'm older than you are.
Yeah, they might notice I would too.
You're older than 39, right?
I'm older than 39, okay,
yes.
But it should be. It's a dark comedy.
Okay.
Lots of funny parts in it, and it's great fun. So come see it.
I
Yes,
plan to.
opens
Where,
this Friday
where do I get the tickets?
at Poppy on Main Street.
When do they have them yet?
They should have them because opening night is Friday, so they should have them right now,
Yeah.
and you go down there and get some tickets.
Maybe my friend Joe will stay for a few more nights and come to the play.
It's worth seeing, trust me. And it'd be great to be with your friend for a little longer.
I'm not sure how much longer we've got. Yeah, well, I think I've covered what I wanted to about you. Is there what have well, that's how about your academic and well, your interest in humanities and knowledge and like how many languages do you speak?
For English, French, Greek, and Hebrew. And although my Greek and Hebrew is pretty much ancient, because I compare and contrast the Greek and Hebrew texts of the Old Testament. I have a master's degree in divinity. I always tell people, can't you tell I'm divine? But
Oh yes, of course. The halo, the glow.
But my bachelor's degree is in ancient languages and literature, so I've translated Euripides and the Iliad and the Odyssey and Josephus and a lot of those
I've heard of
kinds
some of
places.
those books.
Yeah.
Okay, so speak to me in ancient Greek and tell me what Socrates would say about Kiva.
Oh, Socrates?
In Greek.
Gosh. In Greek?
Yes,
Well, no one would be able to understand this. So I
I'm sorry.
I don't know any. I can't think of anything off the top of my head to say.
I knew I was going
But
to
I
stump
could.
you on
But I
something.
could. I could say some things in ancient Greek if you want. So.
Sure. Let's hear it.
So the beginning of the Odyssey, which I think is a great story, and if you've read it in English, you've missed all the good juicy parts. Trust me, it's better in Greek. But it starts out Andromoi Enipo Musa Pelutropon Hos Malapola, and because it's written in iambic pentameter, and so it has a rhythm to it when you read it in the ancient language, and so it basically starts out, tell me about a man of many wiles. But in English it doesn't quite have the rhythm that you have when you have the ancient language.
Well, get to the juicy parts in English
Oh.
for me.
Well, I don't know. This might be X-rated here.
We have an editor. No, okay, well, never mind. I think I can.
It's a much better story in Greek
Yeah,
than it is in English. Trust me.
It's best if I don't let my imagination go and ask questions about, you know, Cyclops and sex or something.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
that
Well,
would be
there's one
disgusting.
story like about how Odysseus is washed up on shore and he
That-
finds himself naked
with the sirens.
with the woman. Yes,
Oh,
you know, and
with the sirens, or
well,
are there lower?
the head one, the head siren.
I was
Cersei.
wondering, are sirens like mermaids? Is their lower half fish? I mean, that would be kind of a problem, but.
Well, yeah, that would be a problem. That is a problem,
Sorry.
yes.
Sorry.
But it's they lure men to their
Yeah.
destruction.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wreck on the wreck. Okay. Well. Okay. You've done it. You set me off on a dangerous course. So, with all your interest in serving the women, excuse me, are you trying to drive all us men to crash into the rocks and destroy us?
Absolutely not.
Good.
I think everyone is valuable, and it doesn't, to me, it doesn't matter what your gender, your race, creed. It doesn't matter. I tell a story on myself that one place I was working before I moved up here, TV camera came and they filmed something, and one of my employees started swearing while they were filming, and so I called the TV station and I said, hey, I want to make sure you cut that out. And they said, so well, which reporter was there? And I said, I gave the first name and Lisa, and they said, well, which Lisa? We have 3 Lisas. And I said, I don't know. And they said, well, was she black or Asian or white? I said, she was pretty. And they said, you didn't notice anything else? I said, no. I mean, I just didn't pay attention to her race, her color. And it was just, she was very pretty, whoever she was. And they found out who it was, and so they were able to take out the swear words, which I don't think they would have put in anyway. Um, but I tend not to see those things. I tend to see people as people and part of all of creation.
Well, I challenge everybody, so don't take this personally. Were the other two women not so attractive? The, I don't know
Of
which
the
one.
of the
The pretty,
reporters,
which one was the pretty
all
one?
three of them were pretty,
Oh, okay.
and they and
I
she
still
and
figured it
the
out.
my the person I was talking to said all of our reporters are pretty, Sally.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
So
Yeah.
she had to go look to see who it was, because so yes, I guess to be a reporter they do check on your beauty. I don't know. I've never
Well,
tried for that job.
well, Rats, I'm unable to throw you off balance with these crazy tangents I go on.
I'm sorry. Try
No,
one.
you are not apologizing. Good for you. Good on you there, Sally. Well, is there anything else you wish I had asked you, or any direction that I've taken you wish I hadn't, or anything like that?
No, I think you do a great job.
Okay, well, thank you. Um, any parting remarks you would like our three listeners to take into mind?
I one of the things that I've been when I talk to people about my campaign is that I like to see myself as being part of a zipper that's bringing all the people together and bringing us to mesh together. It doesn't mean we lose our individuality, but it means that we all work together to make a really strong, cohesive piece of our community. And so I think I'd like to see us think of ourselves as a zipper.
Yeah, that's the real strength of humanity is our capacities to find connections. It's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Well, Sally, I want to thank you very much. And anyone watching, please help support Kiva's Corner. We hope to set up a board of directors and get a private nonprofit going. And Sally alluded, help the community. As we know, local news is struggling everywhere, and I believe it's going to take some cooperation between private and nonprofit and government agencies to put something together to keep our civilization going. And thank you very much, Sally, and I wish you the best in the election.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me here.
Well, my pleasure. I enjoyed it. I love doing this.